What's up? A to Z Sports live on a Thursday, also the last day of the month of August, which means regular season football is coming up in tomorrow's month. So excited about that. A lot to get to here on a Thursday as the Titans roster is continuing to mold and take shape with a couple new additions. The practice squad also set yesterday, but as we always know, churning of the back end of the roster and the practice squad is a very fluid thing. And so we'll try to do our best to keep up with it and update you guys on the latest news when it comes to what the Titans have going on with their roster and practice squad. But a bigger topic today, Sam, is about a roster narrative that was floated out there with what the Titans did with their initial 53-man roster. Is there a philosophy change coming in Nashville on the offensive side of the football? That is what we will myth bust today. So we'll dive deeper into that. And also, Sam is not the only Chicagoland person that is going to be discussed on today's show. Two Bears have now joined the Titans reportedly. So we'll discuss the impact and potential of those two signings and what they represent and mean for the Titans roster. And it is a Thursday, which means the Magic Bucket is here. I feel like I've dodged the Magic Bucket for a month because of training camp and also being out last Thursday to where you and Jack had to do the Magic Bucket without me. So, hey, it's back. So we'll see how it goes with the Magic Bucket. But Sam, welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Let's do it. I love that you said last day of August. And,
Yeah.
we'll talk a little bit later on. Football's back
Oh,
today,
hey,
not
and,
just
and have you been outside yet today?
I've not.
It's amazing.
Is it? It was great yesterday,
Amazing.
too. We had a nice little breeze yesterday. I'm all right. Well, why is it amazing? Don't hide
It's
that
like
from me.
it was in the 50s this morning in Nashville.
That is amazing. I'm
Probably
very
not
excited.
anymore. Probably not anymore because it's 8 o'clock. But hey.
Well, hey, it's a great day. It's a great day to talk Titans. It's a great day for football to be back. So we've got a great show this morning with a lot of exciting things to talk about, a narrative to dispel, like you said. And before we jump into it, everybody's got to share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button. If you're watching on YouTube, take the YouTube link and send it to a friend. Maybe it's a Bears fan in your life, and you say, hey, we're talking about a couple Bears joining the Titans. Maybe it's a Titans fan in your life. Maybe it's a college football fan in your life. Maybe it's somebody that you just want to introduce to A to Z Sports and continue growing the A to Z Sports family. Share the show. That's the best way to support us before we kick things off here on a Thursday morning.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. And I did see somebody early in the show saying it is prime BetMGM season. Absolutely, Bork. And we've got some new things coming up next week with BetMGM as the season officially gets underway in the National Football League. But we are A to Z Sports, Nashville's on-demand sports talk network. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, our A to Z Sports Titans reporter. We go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline at A to Z Sports. And make sure you follow us all across social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network with, all of our great coverage here covering the Tennessee Titans. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you. Like Wilson County Hyundai, WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go to make them a part of your new car buying process. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage rates and service at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping us safe online. And you can get a 2-week free trial when you use our link, aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in the Middle Tennessee area. That's Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro, online at KrebsKubota.com. So a lot of stuff to get to. Props to Devin, who said he was going to be leaving us for a bit to go to his rehab facility, but he got his phone back yesterday, apparently, and he is back in the chat, active as always. So hopefully it's a good development there for a guy, Devin. But a lot of things to get to here, Sam, and kind of off the top, some news and transactions to kind of catch up with. Sam, I know we've got the first edition of the 17-man practice squad roster. So I'll kind of let you run through with that.
Yeah, we have the initial practice squad, 17 because tight end Thomas Odukoya gives the Titans an exemption. This is the last year they have an exemption on him as part of the International Player Pathway program, but he does not count against their practice squad. So they were able to keep him within the organization without using one of those spots. No real surprises, I would say, on the Titans' first practice squad. They signed a lot of people back to their active roster that I think Titans fans were pretty sad to see go and happy to see back. Like Mason Kinsey's back, Trayshawn Harrison is back, offensive lineman like Jordan Ruse is back. Austin, we talked yesterday about the first 5 out of graphic, and 4 of these guys, Guerrer, Carter, Ruse, and Odukoya, all made the practice squad. So the Titans got a good chunk of those type of players back. They did make one add to the practice squad that we'll talk about a little bit later in depth, and kicker Cade York, which I think is a really interesting move. And then shook things up on the 53-man roster, which we will also talk about later, with a waiver claim of Kendall Vildor, placing Kyle Phillips on injured reserve, signing of Travis Gibson, and then the release of Corey Levin is kind of a corresponding move there. So we're at 53. We've had our little shakeup, but the practice squad is set, and no real complaints from me. Nobody that I felt like needed a spot on this practice squad that didn't get one. They kept most of the impact young guys that I think made a case to make the roster. Chance Campbell is back as well. Armani Marsh, like all of these guys that I think Titans fans had their eye on making the roster are back with the organization, and nobody was claimed off waivers from Tennessee.
Yeah, and apparently the Titans missed out on the 2 most popular waiver claim players.
Yeah.
As a wide receiver / tight end, a rookie went to the Arizona Cardinals out of Stanford, cut from the Dolphins, and then a guard from Ole Miss cut, another rookie that was also claimed by the Houston Texans. The Titans were in on the most 2 waivers, waiver wire guys that were claimed there. So
but can I just say real quick, talk about like an absolute dodged bullet for somebody like Colton Dowell, right? Like makes the 53, probably no chance he stays on the 53 if a big wide receiver tight end is claimed by the Titans and added to the roster. And instead he survives. He's on the 53, and if you can make it to that first game check, that's a big deal. I mean, that's a big
massive. Yeah, that locks in all the other 17 game checks. With that, so huge for Colton Dowell, a hometown kid, to get that game check locked in. Hopefully, he's just got 10 more days to survive on the 53-man roster.
Every week that you can survive on the 53 is it's a very nice payday. So yeah you gotta survive in advance. Try and suit up.
One thing we did not mention yesterday was that all 6 draft picks from the Titans did make the roster. Now that's not a super shocker, but in the case of like the team like the Dolphins, they had to cut half of their draft class, but that happens when you have like 15 draft picks. You can't keep everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of teams that were doing that. Like, I mean, even that it was Higgins, right?
Yeah.
Was this receiver tight end that was like a 6th round draft pick as a rookie that got cut. Darius Rush, I know, a corner for Indianapolis, was I believe their 5th round draft pick that he got waived and the Chiefs claimed him. So Kansas City picked up like a 5th round corner for free. It's not too terribly uncommon to see teams having to cut multiple draft picks in a year. So possibly a good sign on some strong early returns from the Titans draft class that they felt comfortable enough keeping everybody they picked.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to talk about the new additions from the Chicago Bears, and Sam, being a Chicago Bear fan growing up and paying attention to these 2 guys in the first few years of their career, probably knows more than anybody else in the national media about these 2 Bears players. So we'll talk about them later on in the show. But Sam, we had kind of pegged this morning to have a bigger conversation about the Titans' offensive philosophy with the decision they made with their 53-man roster out of the gates. And the fact is, the Tennessee Titans kept 7 wide receivers on the opening 53-man roster and just 3 tight ends on the initial 53-man roster. So I don't know if you remember this. I know Titans fans will remember this, but the first thing I thought about when I saw the Tennessee Titans keeping 7 receivers and just 3 tight ends was the year 2015 when Ken Wisenhunt's Titans started the season with just 4 wide receivers and 5 tight ends. And I thought, man, it's been a long 8 years since that happened, because I'm going to list the 4 receivers and 5 tight ends that the Titans kept in 2015. Do you remember this?
Well, I saw your post. I had
Yes.
no recollection of this till I saw your post, and
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I mean this is fake. I mean,
Ridiculous,
like that.
right? No,
This can't be real."
this
And
was real.
it
The
was
4
wild.
receivers: Kendall Wright, Harry Douglas, Justin Hunter, and Dorial Green Beckham.
Oh, I love myself some DGB.
The 5 tight ends, obviously Delaney Walker, who I got to catch up with last week at practice, Anthony Fasano, Craig Stevens, Chase Kaufman, and Philip Supernaw. So
So
God.
that was the one. I read that. I said Philip Supernall's not a real person.
Philip Supernaw, real dude.
I when I read back that roster, I said, no, he doesn't exist. Like I had heard of all the other guys. I'm like, no, this Philip Supernaw guy was not an NFL player that made a 53.
He was. He wore
Yeah.
the number 89. He actually had some nice moments, but got concussions a lot and did not really make it. Also enjoyed himself some Broadway. So yeah, Philip Supernaw, didn't do much, but yeah, 5 tight ends to 4 receivers, and how much has changed? 7 receivers to 3 tight ends, Sam. So let's ask this question to kick off our show. Are you buying or selling 7 wideouts, 3 tight ends signals a change in the Titans' offensive philosophy? Are you buying or selling what we're saying here? 7 wide receivers and 3 tight ends signals a change in Titans' offensive philosophy. We'll get to everybody here in the chat with your answers on buy or sell. But first, Sam, tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute.
The Bone and Joint Institute, they're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. You don't want to fumble on your recovery, and you have to find someone you can trust. And you can trust the Bone and Joint Institute, located out in Franklin, with a boneandjointtn.org is where you can go to schedule an appointment. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility that has rehab, image, surgery, clinic, testing, all under the same roof for maximum convenience. You're not driving around Middle Tennessee trying to go find your different appointments and driving everywhere. It's just in one spot with good, reliable care. And that's the best thing that you can ask for whenever you get hurt in life. So that's why we love the Bone and Joint Institute. Really, really knowledgeable, great people over there. Schedule an appointment with them at boneandjointtn.org.
Also, don't forget, as Bork said earlier in the show, it is prime bet MGM season, and you can take advantage of that with our bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ Sports, where you can get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That's with BetMGM, so take advantage of that with bonus code ATOZ Sports, up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions, subject to qualifications, eligibility requirements. First online real money wager. Only rewards issued to knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire in 7 days. And for problem game sport, call Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789. So Sam, I'll let you kick this off. Buy or sell the 7 wide receivers and 3 tight ends signals a offensive philosophy change with the Tennessee Titans. I'll let you get to the chat to see what everybody's saying before we dive into it.
Noah is selling it. Clayton's buying it. Steven's buying. Brock is buying. Nick is selling. Rooney's buy. Jody is buy. Paul is buy. Jaron is buy. Matt is buy. Caleb's buying. Wrights is selling. A hesitant buy from Jay. We've got a buy from Nate's Burner. We've got a sell from Andre. We've got a sell from Titans Kyle. We've got a buy from Jermel. We've got sell from Top Troop and Drew. We've got buying from Deborah and Cost 67, selling from Malachi, Brad, and Brian. Brad says he needs to see it with his own eyes before he can buy it. We've got buying from RTB. We've got buying from Edward. We've got buying from Top Tier. Luman is selling because he can drop NWI and sign Parker Hesse.
Oh, Lou Man's like super crush is Parker Hesse,
Okay.
roster cut tight end from several years ago.
I
So
was going to say, I didn't get the Parker Hesse reference. I'm not sure where that name was coming from.
Like, if you think about who your biggest training camp crush is.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Parker Hesse is 3 times that for Lou Man. So,
okay.
yeah.
I was just like, yeah, I'm not sure. I know why we're name dropping Parker Hesse on a Thursday morning. That makes more sense. Top tier is going to buy. We've got a sell from Tighten Up. We've got buying from Amar, selling from Paulie D. They're just used to player injuries. Selling from Eric, buying from MB. Austin, you or me? Because I kind of feel like I should go here.
Yeah, if you want to go, by all means, step out on that ledge and let's see what you got here.
I'm gonna rip this Band-Aid off. I am selling this hard.
Okay.
I'm selling this
hard sell.
Yeah, this is like discount. Like I'm take it. Please, I'm selling it. I mean, number one, the Titans kept 3 tight ends last year. So, I'm not too like their beginning roster last year had Hooper, Chig, Jeff Swaim. That was their roster last year. So, I don't think the 3 tight ends is necessarily an indication. I mean, it is surprising considering they don't have a fullback, but I don't know if it's an indication of like a change in philosophy. And the 7 wide receivers has become 6 with Kyle Phillips going to injured reserve. Now, I will be interested in seeing what they do with 7 when Kyle Phillips returns from IR and you have to decide, is Kyrus Jackson or Colton Dowell no longer on your 53? Are they staying around and genuinely keeping 7? And what is their role on the team if so? So, I think this is more of I think this signifies more of their depth at certain positions. And there's a few positions in the NFL that you can keep 7 because of special teams value, somebody at the back end, not because of offensive impact. Like, whether or not you keep 5 corners or 6 corners probably depends on how good that 6th corner is in kick coverage. Same thing with 6 wide receivers versus 7 wide receivers. If you have a 7th that can return punts or can get down there on a kickoff, you'll probably keep 7 instead of 6, really only working 4 to 5 in on your offensive rotation. So I don't think this has anything to do with the Titans offense. I don't think it signifies any sort of change for me. I think this is just kind of how the cards fell in terms of special teams value and, what they felt like they could or couldn't get through waivers.
Mm-hmm.
So no, sell. I still, until I see it, I'm with the comment earlier. I don't know if I expect a massive philosophy change. I think the scheme will be different. Tajay Spears, DeAndre Hopkins, they will change up like what the Titans can do, but they're still going to run the ball an awful lot.
Okay. Yeah, look, and I don't, philosophy change is a vague term, right? So yeah, they're going to run the ball a lot because Derrick Henry is scheduled to make, he at least counts $16 million in the cap. He's going to make, however much money this year. So they're going to run the ball a lot. So before I answer, I'm going to ask you some follow-up questions.
Yeah.
When we had began our roster projections and we started talking about the wide receivers, because that's a hot button issue, what was your expected number of wide receivers that we discussed several times that you were thinking they were going to keep?
Well, honestly, I thought 5 was a real possibility. And then 6 was like, I think they could push it to 6 if somebody earns that spot. They had to go with 6, at least with the Kyle Phillips. I was surprised they went with 7. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I was
the
kind
injury,
of 1 under where they were.
But still, I think if Phillips wasn't hurt, they'd still probably would have gone with 6, though, right?
I think they go with 6, not 7, though.
Right. But
yeah,
I will give you the 7th receiver is 1000% because of Kyle Phillips getting hurt.
Yeah. So, but yes, they do go with 6. Even
how
with
many
Phillips
how many tight ends were you expecting the Titans to keep throughout the entire month of August? 4. and they went with 3.
Yeah.
How many tight ends do you think were worthy of a roster spot? Because I could argue 5.
Well, I mean, you could argue 5, like, so, I mean, obviously the top 3 were always going to make the team. I
Right.
viewed the tight end situation as, do you value Odukoya's inline blocking more than Kevin Rader's H-back ability? The Titans answered with neither. The special teams impact of an extra wide receiver was the most important. And then, as we talked about yesterday, the third quarterback takes a job away from an offensive player as well. So this, like, I think there's some other factors, but yeah, I think there were 5 guys that you could have made an argument for being on the roster.
And I think I don't think after the 7 wide receivers who made it initially, there was not really the 8th guy who was like, that guy deserves it, right?
No, I
There was
don't
a
think so.
significant drop off from Kinsey probably being 8th, then Trayshawn Harrison and Reggie Roberson not around on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And then the others as well. Racy McMath is now up in Indianapolis on their practice squad. Colts only have 3 receivers right now on the roster, which is almost as crazy as the Patriots having 1 quarterback. So, all right. So you are a hard sell on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think this is indicative of anything.
Okay, and not indicative of anything. So I am going to disagree with you. But first,
Okay.
I'm going to tell you all about our friends at Krebs Kubota. You can't disagree with Krebs Kubota and how they help out all of their customers and build relationships with you for all of your equipment needs. Whatever your equipment needs are, big or small, if it's just cutting the grass, trimming the yard, trimming the hedges, or making sure that you're trimming around the mulch line and everything else. That's the small projects that Krebs can take care of for you, or the big projects like baling hay, whatever else you've got going on with your property and potential crops out there in Middle Tennessee, where there's a lot of beautiful land and beautiful farms operations in Middle Tennessee. Krebs Kubota can help you out because they are Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment provider. They are an elite Kubota dealer, which means they have the best equipment in the industry with the best warranties in the industries. And I talk about the warranties every day because that's how important warranties are when it comes to your equipment, because you're using a lot of power, a lot of force with the planet Earth. Things are going to break, and that's okay. That's where Krebs Kubota can help you out with the warranties and their customer service, because they strive to have the best customer service in the area. So check them out in their 3 locations. That's Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro, online at KrebsKubota.com.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, that's a second chance to win big. So if you have a play, and I'm just gonna go a little bit off course here because I got to tell the people about a play here, Austin. I saw this and it freaked me out a little bit. So Utah is -4.5 tonight against Florida in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm firing a missile on the Utes.
Do you know why?
Because it is the Florida Gators' first out of conference road game.
No.
Oh, all right. Well, you tell me why, and then I'll tell you why.
Because Utah is without its starting quarterback.
Oh, is he not playing?
Utah is also without its backup quarterback.
And they're still favored.
Utah is using their 3rd string quarterback and still favored by 4.5.
They announced Rising isn't playing?
Rising's now, yeah.
Rising, that's tough.
And so is the backup.
Well,
nobody knows.
I'm still throwing a nuke on him, and let me tell you why.
Don't wait till it gets to like 3, though.
Okay, well, fun fact. This is the first time the Florida Gators have played an out-of-conference opponent on the road that is outside the state of Florida since 1991. The first road game outside the state of Florida against a non-SEC opponent since 1991. That's as scared gets, and I think the Gators are about to get chomped by the Utes. I don't care who's at quarterback. Utes -3.5, hammering it. Bonus code ATOZ Sports. If it loses, I will be getting my my bonus bet. So up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. Second chance to win big. King of Sportsbooks, BetMGM.com.
All right, so we've asked this question. The Titans, 7 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. buy or sell, that signaling an offensive philosophy change. Same as a hard sell. I'm a buy. I'm not saying I'm all in on this. I'm not saying that they're going to spread it out, go 3 and 4 wide and throw the ball 45 times. That's not the philosophy change that I'm discussing. It's the philosophy change of the scheme and the type of players that they're wanting. Because Sam, we talked and you talked through when we're going through the options at tight end of Raider is the best fullback / tight end, and he was cut. Odukoya is the second best inline tight end, and he got cut, both on the practice squad. And we talked about the Odukoya rule situation with the international player that was his opportunity and his downfall to make the actual roster. But of the 3 tight ends on the roster, really none of them are fullback type guys. Chig is still a developing blocker. Josh Wiley is 1000% a developing blocker. Both of those guys are better receivers.
Yeah, Wiley did play some fullback though. He was actually
so
announced as a fullback when they drafted him.
Well,
So
yeah, and Honor Landry is the Titans edge rusher, right?
yeah.
And so there are some things. He is not a fullback. He is a converted receiver.
He has the ability to do it though, or at least he did at Cincinnati.
Right. They also don't have a fullback because they just kept three running backs as well. Correct. So I am buying this in the fact that the Tennessee Titans are going to be more versatile in their personnel groupings. And I think because of Chig's skill set, I think they are still going to mostly have a base of 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, but I think it's going to be more spread out and faster of an operation than before. So I do think having more wide receivers and less tight ends does signal a little bit of movement. And it's not like flipping to become the damn, Tennessee Vols college offense. It's just going back towards the mean of what the NFL is in the year 2023. I think they're still going to run the football 30 times if they can and throw the football 20 to 25 times if the game dictates that. But I think the way that they're going to line up does have a signal of change for what Tim Kelly wants to do and have it more horizontal than compact.
I don't disagree necessarily. I just think I almost view that as more of like a roster thing though than like a philosophy. Like I feel like last year's offense in an ideal world has Tajay Spears, DeAndre Hopkins, and they probably run a lot of the same packages last year if they have that personnel. Like I think the way the Titans built their roster was under a better understanding of what players fit into their offense that didn't fit last year, or at least that you didn't have the horses to run the offense that you wanted to. I don't know if this is like a massive overhaul as much as it is they now have gotten the playmakers and the explosive players to better carry out the offense. Like, yeah, Tim Kelly's going to make some changes, but I mean, he told you himself, things aren't all the way broken, and there's not a ton of like, anytime you ask any of the Titans, what is the difference in this offense? They don't say the X's and O's or the scheme of it or like the creativity of it. They say the operations and the pace.
Yep.
So like, I think it's more just you have players that are going to be more dangerous playing at a faster paced offense than it is, like you said, going to air raid or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not, again, like, because I did see a lot of social reaction was, oh my gosh, they're going to start spreading this out and throwing the dang ball. Thank God, right? It's not going to be that.
I don't think that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry still has a significant chance to lead the NFL in rushing. Ryan Tannehill will probably just flirt with 4,000 yards passing. And that's totally fine. And the Titans can win a lot of games doing that type of offense. But I do think it's going to look different in the nuances, in the details of operations and pace, and not having as compact of formations.
Well, it's like you said, there's going to be a lot of 2 tight ends on the field, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. The difference is those receivers are Traylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins, with Chigakonkwo as your main pass catching tight end. Then that being Austin Hooper and Cody Hollister, or Austin Hooper and Nick Westbrook-Akine and Robert Woods. Like, this is a massive upgrade in the personnel. And when you have more dynamic players, you're able to do some more dynamic things in general.
But don't
like Tajay Spears.
Yeah, but don't you think because you've seen 2 training camps, right? As a beat reporter for the Tennessee Titans covering this team.
Yeah.
Last year's offense and this year's offense, training camp to training camp, they look different. Like, this is a more explosive, more dynamic, and more creative offensive scheme than what Todd Downing was running the last 2 years. That was a branch from Arthur Smith and Matt LaFleur, but with less talent.
Explosive in a different way. I don't know if I would say in training camp they looked more explosive, because last year's training camp, if you'll remember, Austin, like, Ryan Tannehill, all he did was throw deep balls. Like, they were just airing it out nonstop. And so there was a little bit of like, oh, wow, the Titans are trying to take the top off of opposing defenses. The difference was in games, like you said, you just didn't have the horses to do that as
or
much.
The offensive line.
And so,
because the whole offensive line
right,
gets hurt,
yeah.
right? And when you don't have Lawan and you don't have, who you want to be on your O-line, you can't throw it down.
So, yeah, like, I don't know if I would say the scheme itself is more aggressive. I think it's just different because the Titans are now able to do smaller, nuanced things and play designs that can result in big gains because you have explosive players. And so you don't have to throw the ball 50 yards down the field to get a big gain. You don't have to run a flea flicker and throw the ball to NWI to get a big gain down the field.
No, I get that. And I'm trying to think of more because you weren't around for the Julio training camp, and Julio wasn't really around for the Julio training camp.
I will say this. I think the one thing we might see a difference in, given the new personnel, is more throwing on first down, because I think you can run more 2 running back sets and have both Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears on the field, create a lot of running space for Derrick, but then also use Derrick as a decoy to get the ball to a playmaker in space.
Yeah.
That being said, I think that's a result of the players and not the number of players. So I think that it's the high-end receivers and the high-end running backs are more to like point to for that than I would say the number 7 or 3 at receiver and tight end.
But I also think they wanted to gain the players to fit what they wanted to do.
True.
Right? Like,
Fair.
Josh Wiley is more of a tight end like Chig than Wesco. And they drafted that player to go towards that philosophy. They didn't really draft a receiver until late. We know that. But with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, lucky or call their shot. We had that conversation earlier in the summer, but they still have the horses and built the roster. Kearis Jackson as an undrafted free agent fits what they wanted to do, yada, yada, yada. We can go on and on.
Yeah.
So I'm a soft buy. It is a change of philosophy, but not in the dramatic way as I think some fans want it to be. And you are a hard sell.
Yes.
All right. That's fair enough. All right, Sam, I have a stat that is probably going to make some people watching just like throw open their mouth a little bit and then have to just be like, ugh, and keep that thing down. So I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize on the front end, but it's something that has to be shared. So the stats coming here in a second. And hey, maybe your health coverage, I don't know how much you're paying for your health coverage, but maybe that gives you the same reaction. But you can go to Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ, and they can help you lower your health coverage every month, but also get better coverage. I mean, that's the best of both worlds right there with what Farm Bureau Health Plans can do for you. They've done it for Zach Bingham. They've done it for a couple other A to Z sports employees, and they can help you out with whatever life stage you're in. Maybe you have a growing family. Maybe you're completely single. Maybe you have a family that's left the nest and you're empty nested, and you and your spouse are trying to take that next step in life, and you need a different type of coverage. Farm Bureau Health Plans can do it all Farm Bureau Health Plan, serving Tennesseans for over 75 years, and it's so easy to get started. Don't think that changing your health coverage is a mountain to climb, because Farm Bureau Health Plans makes it easy on you. All it is a quick health assessment, and they do the rest of the work for you, and you can get started at fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. That's a second chance to win big, a second chance to get that bonus bet into your account and get another chance at things. So that's why they're the king of sportsbooks. It's why we love BetMGM, and we're using them all football season. Get with the king of sportsbooks. It's BetMGM.com.
All right, A to Z Sports here live. I have a stat. Titans fans are not going to like it, but it's something that has to be said.
It's funny, though.
It is funny if you're that type of sadistic person that likes pain. The Tennessee Titans have more members of the Chicago Bears 2020 NFL draft class than they have of their own 2020 draft class. The Tennessee Titans, we know, have one player left from the 2020 draft class. That is Christian Fulton, who looks like a dude right now. And now the Tennessee Titans have two members of the Bears.
This is not the 2016 draft class. Like, this is like 3 years ago, two and a half years ago.
This is going into year 4. This is going into the last year of those rookie contracts. And the Chicago Bears class is better represented than the Titans' own class.
Hilarious.
I'm sorry for bringing this up, but it had to be said.
Yeah, very funny. They add two Bears, both in the same draft class, taken in the same round, just a couple picks after one another. And all of a sudden you are the Tennessee Bears. I like this back here. Who said it? It was
the Chicago Titans or Tennessee Bears. Which one rings better? I guess it's the Tennessee Bears.
Tennessee Bears, because
you're located here.
Yeah. Well, the team up north right now is the Chicago Titans with Nate Davis and DeMarcus Walker and Dylan Cole and, Kari Blossom game and all the former Titans that they've got on their roster. But yeah.
So I just want to see some reactions to this, because people are saying that's not surprising. Billy says not surprising. Noah says in J-Rob we trust. Malachi says sounds about right for a J-Rob draft. Bork just, oh my gosh. And it said, well, that's not bad. I mean,
that's pretty bad.
It's bad. And then Orlando was laughing. Thanks, J-Rob there. Yeah, our guy Bonafide Bro, Section 240 says it is what it is. Bear up.
That's the comment I was looking for.
Bear up, baby. So look, I mean, the Titans 2020 draft class was so god awful, but it continues to get laughing emoji reactions nearly, 3 seasons later, as the Titans have two members of the Bears draft class in that year and only one of their own. So Sam, I'll let you kind of introduce us as a Bears fan and Chicago native. Tell us a little bit about these two guys the Titans have added to the roster over the last 24 to 48 hours.
Well, here's the first one. It's Kindle Vildor, 2020 5th round pick, Atlanta native, played his college football at Georgia State. The Bears took him, and quite honestly, Vildor worked into their rotation a lot over 3 years for a 5th round draft pick. He's 44 games in 3 seasons, including 22 starts, 97 tackles, 10 passes defensed, had just 1 interception, which he got last season. Vildor is an interesting guy to me for the Titans to target, because quite honestly, he struggles a lot in coverage. Coverage is not a very strong part of his game. Very important for a corner to be able to cover. He is a good tackler. He's good against the run. He excels against the run a lot more than he does the pass. Some versatility. Most of his experience is outside, but he has pushed to nickel when the Bears have needed him to, when they've had 2 healthy corners. And he's kind of been the guy. The reason he's played so much is that versatility. He's been the guy that's like, all right, you need a guy to be your cornerback 1 this week and guard the X. I got it. You need a guy to move inside and play the nickel this week. I got it. He's popped all over. Like I said, not great in coverage, but he can tackle, can play against the run, triggers fast, runs fast, ran like a 4.44, I believe, 40 coming out of college, very physical. So, I mean, my reaction is, well, that's a guy that might be a productive special teamer, but he didn't get a ton of special team experience with the Bears. Like, he was primarily a defensive guy. So I'm
Well, when
very
he's starting 22 games, like, you've got to have him. Like,
right.
because
So, like,
here's a crazy stat. I just looked this up because I'm going to throw the graphic back up about Vildor. 44 career games, 22 career starts. He's got more game experience than Christian Fulton, because Christian Fulton, with his injury bug, has only played 30 games and has 26 starts compared to 44 and 22. So I do find that interesting
yeah.
as well. Fulton has played at a higher level when he's been out there, but still, that's good quality experience to add into your corner room
So,
at waiver cuts.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of my takeaway is like, all right, it's good experience. There are some good physical tools to like there. I do find it a bit confusing because, like, I mean, I see the chat coming in and saying, like, Jeff says move him to safety. People say, so is he going to play the Cruikshank role? And like, the weirdest thing about this, Austin, is physically, I think he profiles as a guy who could be impactful on special teams. Doesn't have a ton of experience there. He also, in his play and in his performance, success against the run, some struggles especially in man coverage, would profile more as a nickel, maybe as a hybrid safety and like a backup for like Elijah Molden. But the Bears didn't really use him that way. Like, most of his experience is on the outside. So his in-game experience that you bring up is not necessarily where I think he would fit best in the Titans roster, which makes me really curious to see where exactly they see him fitting in. And I mean, we've got Rand Carthon at the podium later this morning.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be really interesting to hear from Rand about like where exactly his vision for Vildor is. But yes, experience there, and a lot of games played for a guy with just 3 years in the league, to be bringing on now to your team for free at waiver claims.
Yeah.
But this is the one that Titans fans are going to want to talk about, because defensive lineman Trevis Gipson is a dog. He is a good addition. Why did the Bears get rid of Trevis Gipson? Well, he doesn't really fit into the Bears defensive scheme. He fit into the defensive scheme great and had, 7 sacks in 2021 when they were still running a 3-4. Matt Eberflus comes in as the head coach, switches the defense to a 4-3. Gipson got less reps, had just like far less production.
3 sacks, right? Last year.
He had 3 sacks last year. I think one of them was like week 1 or something too. So he was pretty quiet for the back half of the year. And a lot of it for him is just, I don't think the Bears valued what he is against the run. He's pass rush over run. They favor gap integrity and run defense on their current defensive line. That's not exactly what Trevis Gipson is. He's a pure, let me get after the passer. We can run some of his tape. This is from the preseason game against the Titans.
Yeah.
You see him coming off the edge here. He prefers having a hand in the dirt, but I mean, like, good speed, good ability to win one-on-one and get into the backfield.
It's good run. I mean, that's good run defense right there on a couple reps.
It is. But I mean, that's more good run defense as somebody who beats his guy and is just running around in the backfield, happens to be a running back in sight. Like I said, there's a little bit less gap integrity in his game. Wins right there. That was a really nice move to kind of power up I believe that was Rupchich that he got around there. And I mean, he was all over. I think he had 8 pressures in this game. So certainly possibly a thing that the Titans saw and said, hey, we like that. But this is a rotational piece into their defense that I think could be really impactful. He had 5 forced fumbles in 2021 as well. So he has a nose for the football and kind of getting the football out, creating turnovers, great depth. And I think another thing is also his versatility in some ways. He's I call him a defensive lineman. You could also consider him an outside linebacker. He kind of has a little bit of Danico Autry to him, where he can do both, but he comes off the edge. And so now you have Tier Tart and Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry and Rashad Weaver and Danico Autry and you add Travis Gibson, like you are 6 deep. That doesn't even include somebody like Caleb Murphy in on your defensive line. I mean, I love this ad for their defense, and he fits right in with this defensive scheme.
Yeah, and there you could see that he was on both sides of the line too. He would go up against the left tackle and the right tackle.
Gibson's out of Tulsa, by the way, Clayton. 2020 5th-round pick out of Tulsa. Same as Vildor.
Yeah, 5th-round picks from the 2020 class. All right, so I want to ask this question. We'll get to who do we expect more of an impact from early on? Because I think, Gibson's in a crowded room there in the defensive front, and then you've got Vildor who could have an opportunity. So who's going to have a more of an impact early in this Titans season? But first, let me tell you guys about Aura. Aura is all about keeping you safe online. You saw Gibson was not keeping Malik Willis or Will Levis safe in that Bears preseason game earlier. But Aura can do that regardless of where you're at, because Aura is all about your digital online safety with data brokers who are constantly selling your information to spammers and robocallers and telemarketers that pester you in every hour of the day. You can get rid of those data brokers and strip your information away from them. And that happened with me. I had 30 data brokers that were selling my info, or got rid of all of them in about 5 or 6 days. And we're giving you a 2-week free trial with our sponsor, Aura. That's 2 weeks for free to get rid of all the data brokers. And then you start to look at the other things that Aura can provide, like password management and protection. I hate when I forget a password. Aura can help you out and file those away and keep those locked and safe for you. Credit identity theft monitoring as well. Parental controls, if that's a need for the young ones you've got in your house, always on devices as well on the Wi-Fi. So check them out, aura.com/ATOZ for a 2-week free trial with Aura at aura.com/ATOZ.
Today's show powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. That's a second chance to win big. You place your first wager, and even if your first bet loses, that amount goes back into your account in the form of a bonus bet. You get another chance at it. That's why we love BetMGM and why they're the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports on BetMGM.com.
All right, so the Titans signed 2 former Bear defenders, 5th-round picks from the 2020 class, Travis Gibson on the D-line and Kendall Vildor from the cornerback. So which Bears defender should Titans fans expect more from? I find an interesting conversation because I think Gibson is going to, has the 7 sacks 2 seasons ago that makes everybody go, oh, that guy, obviously. But there's just a lot of space and a lot of really good players that he's going to have to get reps from. Where, Sam, is Vildor better than Trey Avery?
Maybe.
And Trey Avery right now is cornerback 4.
Yeah, I think they're a little different.
Okay.
But maybe. It's close. He's probably pretty similar in his pass defense to Trey Avery. The benefit, I think the biggest question with Vildor is where do they want to use him? Do they want to use him as a pure corner, outside corner, or is he going to move inside? This is my gut. We'll see. I think they might see him as like a second nickel. Like if your nickel goes down, instead of like if McCreary is out, instead of moving SMB inside, I think Vildor is the guy that could then go to nickel, and you don't have to mess around with Molden too much either. Like it gives you another insurance policy that doesn't make you move too many pieces around because of one injury. He has
Which makes him more valuable than Avery if he can do both.
Correct.
So that's my thought.
Yeah, correct in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so Avery is an outside guy, and he's been fine, as an undrafted free agent a year ago. So I kind of feel like Vildor is a more important claim than Gibson, because I don't question the Titans have so much depth that Gibson feels like a luxury and like a one-off trade for DeMarcus Walker. And I just don't think that there's as much opportunity because of all the bodies the Titans have, like with Jeff, Tart, Denico, and then backups of of Peavy and who somebody else is hurt. Naquan's coming back from an injury. And then you've got so much depth on the outside with Key, Landry, Weaver, and Murphy. I just don't know where Gibson immediately has an impact. I think Vildor is a really
I
good
didn't even bring
insurance
up
plan.
Key earlier. Yeah, you're 7 deep on the D line.
So deep.
Hey, can't hurt. Fresh legs.
Yeah. And I think Vildor is a more important claim because of the lack of depth at corner compared to where they have a ton of depth up front.
I mean, I don't know if I can agree with that.
Okay.
Let me put it this way. This time last year, Travis Gibson was viewed nationally, and I actually wrote an article about this for A to Z Sports, as one of the most underrated and up and coming young pass rushers in football. Maybe the most underrated and up and coming pass rusher in football. He had 7 sacks, really, with nobody playing around him that year. There was nobody else on that defensive front. Khalil Mack was hurt most of the year. Akeem Hicks was hurt most of the year. The Bears just didn't have a ton going for him. They had Robert Quinn, but Robert Quinn was I'm not sure he took any double teams and freed up too much for Gibson. Last year was even worse. Last year, they had absolutely nobody but a 7th round rookie, Dominique Robinson, and Justin Jones on their front 4. The Bears defensive line was horrible. So it didn't do Travis any favors in terms of getting after the quarterback. You add the defensive scheme switch, it killed his production. I think he can still very easily be a 7-sack guy. And if you can find a 7-sack guy, there's a ton of value in that. That's not a guy that you don't work into your rotation.
Sure, yeah, but how many 7-sack potential guys the Titans have? A lot. And it's kind of not everybody can have 7 sacks or more.
I think so. This is potentially the guy that he replaces or puts in danger for me would be Rashad Weaver. I think Gibson, can be
of a roster spot or just a
not of a roster spot,
okay,
but just of opportunity. I think he can kind of, I don't think it's going to be given to him. I think when you are 7 deep, you'll have to compete. But I think Gibson has the possibility of being more valuable than Weaver this year. And so, he 7 sacks, 5 forced fumbles is a serious good season for a 22-year-old defensive lineman that was out of a group of 5 college that has a ton of room to grow. So this is a legitimate ad. I think he'll be far more impactful than Vildor will.
So
this is a good thing anyway. Kenny says it that. I mean, how can you not be excited about your 7th best defensive lineman if we are considering him the 7th best?
You're including Key and Landry.
Landry. Yeah, but just in general, guys on the front 4. Yeah. Your 7th best guy rotating in there has had a 7-sack, 5 forced fumble season at age 23, and is still on his rookie contract.
Yeah. Titans Kyle. Yeah, it's legit. Titans Kyle says 7-sack guy potential: Landry, Simmons, Weaver, Key.
I'd add him in there.
I don't. Well, he's had it before, so you have to add him in there. I think Autry is missing from that. I guess here's the problem though. If you have Landry, Weaver, and Key that all have 7-sack potential, one of those guys is going to get a lot less opportunity and snaps to probably not get 7 sacks.
Yeah, maybe everybody gets 5 though, and sign me up for 6 guys having 5 sacks or 7 guys having 5 sacks.
And I think we just named, I don't know what Weaver's career high is because last year was just his 2nd year. But I think if you include with Key and Gibson, now you've got 5 guys who have had 7 or more sacks in a season in their careers.
And some of those are very young careers. So
yep.
Yeah.
All right. Look, it's a good problem to have, just a bunch of bodies. And, Derek Barnett is able to go look for other opportunities because the Eagles are stacked up front. And Derek Barnett's a skilled pass rusher, and Gibson was kind of in the same way. Nika, I think it was, came in and asked, why did Chicago let Gibson go? And it's just a scheme fit, right? not as
Yeah.
new scheme fit.
Yeah, I mean, that was the main issue is scheme fit. Matt Eberflus is his defensive coordinator is Alan Williams, who he had with him in Indianapolis. So they run the same defense that Eberflus ran when he was the DC in Indy. They're very picky. Like they make some peculiar decisions on the defensive line, specifically in that linebacker, because of the type of player that fits Eberflus's scheme. Gibson just wasn't really that guy. And I think because of that and because of some of the opportunity he hadn't gotten this preseason, the relationship was a little bit, not great. And
Strained.
so, yeah, there was a report that Gibson had requested a trade, which may or may not have actually been true. And at the end of the day, the statement from Ian Cunningham, the assistant general manager, was he didn't fit our scheme. And ultimately, we want what's best for Travis. So he can go somewhere that he can, do what he does and be in a better defense for him. And Tennessee seems to be that fit.
No, pretty legit. Pretty legit. No kidding. All right, Sam, it is now time for the Magic Bucket. So let's go ahead and get this. It's been a long time for the Magic Bucket. Maybe got some Magic Bucket nerves for me, but let's wrap up this Thursday show. Wilson County Hyundai, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Check them out. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see our friends Payne Bone and his team in Lebanon, or check them out online, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Since I haven't done the Magic Bucket in I don't know how long, I will go first, and we'll see how this goes.
All right, you're up first. Dig into the depths, trying to get you a good one that you haven't done before. And order a necklace from Amazon and wear it on Monday's show. You've done that, right?
I have done this before.
Yeah.
It's been a while, though.
It's not as fun. We need to get you something more fun. All right. Now you've done that. Sexy voice dinner. I always pull that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Make as many animal noises as you can in 30 seconds.
I think that's something that we can always do every time, and it's going to be a great time for everybody.
All right. So 30 seconds on the clock. Make as many animal noises as you can. I will set you a timer.
And you're going to start on my first noise.
All right. I'm ready when you are. Here we go. 30 seconds. Clock starts on your first noise.
You got to think of a plan.
This has to be cheating. I mean, like, we can't premeditate this. Let's go.
Meow. Roar. Oh, no.
Time. That was good.
It's such a brain.
That was kind of good. I was impressed with some of those. Those were some professional, like for on the spot. Those were nice noises. Like I would have just been like quack, moo.
I mean, you got to go all in though.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, I missed my. I do a good wolf. But yeah, that one never gets old. It's always
the
fun.
elephant was unbelievable. I mean, that was crazy.
Well, yeah, everybody. You learn how to do a good elephant when you're like 4 years old. Come on now.
I don't even know what an elephant says. Like I was a big "what does this animal say" guy, and not like what does this animal sound like.
I never did a moo, which is a complete
that is
miss out of that.
All right,
your turn.
For me, here we go. Bring back a classic, but make it simpler. Host gets to pick the pullers next dinner.
I think I've done that. I've picked your food before, haven't I? Or have you
Zach
picked mine?
has picked my food before, and
I've never picked your food.
Yeah, so I mean, you
but
can pick my food.
I also know
I will be in Chicago tonight, though, so you have to pick a
All right,
Chicago.
I got it. I'm going to pick. You need to find the deepest dish pizza you could possibly find in Chicago and eat all of it
Tonight?
Yes.
All right. Well,
The deepest.
I
deepest.
already know where I'm calling. Like that's an easy. I'm gonna call Gino's East, and Gino's East does it like so. Lou Malnati's is kind of like this is their deep dish. Giordano's is like this is their deep dish.
Yeah.
Gino's East, it's a fork and knife meal. So
I'm trying to get you into a food coma is what I'm trying. That's the goal.
I've been doing so good with the diet, but every time I go back, Chicago gets me. Well, I'll go ahead and start planning for that
the
now,
deepest dish pizza you can find. So you know where it's at. All right. So that just means whenever
without going like into like the city and like doing like an hour and a half ordeal to go get it.
Yeah. Within reason. Like I'm
Gino's is like 20 minutes. We can get that done.
Perfect. I love it. So you'll send us all a picture on Twitter X later on.
There we go.
Instagram story that baby, all of it while Sam's up in Chicago. But Sam will be on the show tomorrow, so we can get a report on the food.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a picture and we can display it on the show tomorrow.
Yes. So Jerome says, wait, how is his name not Chicago Sam? That's because he's in Nashville.
I'm not in tomorrow. It'll be Chicago Sam. Yeah.
That's right. All right, guys. Sam, you've got Rand Carthon press conference in 30 minutes. And so they're toying with our time today here. The Titans are. So make sure that you stay tuned to all of our social media coverage, as Sam will have coverage from St. Thomas Sports Bar coming up. Make sure you like the show before we get out of here. Always more people like the show or watch the show than like the show. So hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate that greatly. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning on a Friday, Buck Live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. Appreciate it as always.